I'm going to begin with Kevin MacDonald. He's certainly, as far as I know, the only Oscar winner on stage. One Day in September, Touching the Void, A Last King of Scotland, and The Eagle, and hugely accomplished and determined filmmaker. And I can remember many, many years ago, during the Edinburgh Festival, when we were making a show called Edinburgh Nights, Kevin and his brother coming, they looked about 10. And what they were doing was we were filming them for the 3 weeks, touting a script about, which they finally got made, actually.
You always humiliate me with this story every time I see you.
But you just look young all the time anyway, so it's okay. But the big thing that you have just completed, which is a Herculean task, was A Life in the Day. And before I get you to explain it, I just say that some of the information that was given was wrong. It wasn't 80,000 submissions from 4,500 countries. As far as I know, there aren't 4,500 countries. But it was well nigh it. So explain what the project is, and then we're going to show a clip of it.
Yeah, but the Life in a Day project came about through a sort of collaboration between myself, Ridley Scott's company, Scott Free, big production company, and YouTube. And the idea was to use YouTube to somehow make a feature film. And so we had lots of discussions about how to do this, and we ended up with the idea that on a single day, we'd invite people from all around the world to film their lives and answer a few simple questions. What do you love? What do you fear? And what do you have in your pockets? And I can explain that one later. It seems a bit random, but it's not. And we had 81,000 submissions from 192 countries, unfortunately, not 4,500. And so there was 4,500 to 5,000 hours of material. So I got together a team of people, 23 editing assistants from all around the world who spoke many different languages, to watch this material.
In their own countries?
No, they watched it all in London in a sweaty little office in Greek Street in Soho. And they sat there in rows in front of computers and watched 12 hours a day, and then they would give it a star rating and also enter keywords into a database. So if it was Brazilian sunset on a beach, they'd enter that into a database. And then they would give a star rating 1 to 5, 5 being excellent, 1 being unwatchable, and then there was a 6 for so bad it's good, for those great comedy moments. That
and you distilled it into how many minutes? And
then we distilled that into a feature film. It's 94, 95 minutes, something like that, which then was premiered at Sundance Film Festival and showed at Berlin and at South by Southwest, lots of different festivals, and is now getting a theatrical release in a lot of different countries, starting in Russia next week, I think.
So tell me a little bit about what we're about to see.
So a little clip here from the film, which is a Russian user who has sent in a clip of he and his friend being naughty in Moscow for a day, and then also a little flavor of the kind of global sense of this, where you cut within a few seconds between, you know, all the continents of the world. So
let's watch it.
Давай. Что ты разлёг? Давай. Бай. Пошли тут. Идёшь? Пошли.
extraordinary, absolutely amazing if you get a chance to see it. But how did you set about setting it up? How did you make the call for the material?
Well, Ridley Scott and I both did little films. We opened a channel on YouTube and we put these little films on, sort of asking for people to come forward. And the model for me was actually based on something that happened in the 1930s and 40s, a thing called mass observation, because there's no new ideas in the world, obviously, where a bunch of artists and surrealists asked people to record their everyday lives in diaries and write down very mundane things, what seemed mundane to them, but of course to us now are totally fascinating. And they would also ask them questions like, what's on your mantelpiece? Hence, what's in your pockets? And reveals an awful lot about people's consumption, etc. So we made a little film about that as well, and we put those on YouTube. Then we did a massive kind of a publicity blitz, and we got this huge response. And I think what was so amazing to me was the amount of time and effort that people, in the same way as the Lego film demonstrates, the non-commercially motivated generosity of people on the web and what they will do in order to be part of a project which they feel is really worthwhile.
And some extremes of humanity as well. I mean, at one point there's a guy and he's being filmed with his children living in essentially a small empty mausoleum in a cemetery.
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of heartbreaking things in it, because what happens, of course, when you film yourself or when you film the people that you know closely around you is that you get very, very intimate material. And that's something that you just have to go on YouTube to see. There's so much very, very personal, intimate stuff that a film crew could never get, or could only get after months of being with somebody and really generating trust.
So has it altered, I mean, you're going to presumably still do what you might call classic films, but has it altered your whole relationship with the medium?
I think it has, in a way. I certainly, just in mundane ways, like seeing how truthful emotion is portrayed on film as opposed to by an actor, actually seeing some of the emotion in the film is extraordinary. And also just seeing the beauty of some of the cinematography. I mean, there's incredibly inventive cinematography. But I think the thing that it's reassured me about, as somebody who's too old to change careers now, is that there's always going to be a place for the storyteller, for the director or the writer, and that actually the idea that user-generated content is going to completely take over the world, that it is the new form of cinema or the new form of television, is not really true.
No, because the thing is, the edit is very important.
It's all about the edit and the story that you as the director or the writer actually have in mind when you go into this massive, chaotic
You can
material.
imagine how it could be used elsewhere. Jürgen, you can imagine it could be in the life and the day of Lego users.
Absolutely. No, I was going to say that we've studied, of course, intensively through ethnographic studies how children play digitally. Yeah. The key word that came out of that was storytelling, which I think is just a mirror of what play, the most essential play pattern of all time, is role play. I'm a fireman, I'm going to turn out the fire in the city. Exactly. So I think you're absolutely right. Storytelling is here to stay.
Yes, thank goodness.